Here is our next definition when it comes to the SDI glossary, and this part's going to talk about the entry anchor, adjustable floor anchor. Adjustable floor anchors are defined as follows. I'm just going to read it. A metal device used to secure a frame to floor at base, which allows the jamb to be positioned at a location in height above the floor. Typically used at a depressed slab or unlevel floor condition, also referred to as an adjustable base anchor. So adjustable base anchor, I typically hear the term base anchor when it applies to a mullion. You need a base anchor there, and that mullion's going to sit over the base anchor. Floor anchor, I'm specifically thinking of the outside of the jambs itself. And that's probably just a result of the reflection of my experience within the industry. SDI says it's called an adjustable base anchor as well. But I think of floor anchors when it comes to the outside of the jambs, and the anchor that you would have be in the throat of the frame that you would secure down to the floor as you brought the wall up to it. And then a base anchor is what you would have if you had a frame but it had an attached side light. And you're going to have a floor anchor on the outside for the hinge jamb, most likely. The outside of the side light, that's maybe going to have a floor anchor if it goes all the way to the floor. It might. But where the mullion comes down, the strike mullion comes down, here's your hinge jamb, your strike mullion. You need to put a U-shaped base anchor down and set the frame down on top of that. That base anchor has been secured down to the floor. The frame is dropped on it, and then you generally screw through the face of the frame into the return of the base anchor. So that's how I think of it. They're saying it's either way. But an adjustable floor anchor is here. Here is an example of it. This is from Gulfport. Gulfport Industries is a name that most everyone would know if you are in the hollow metal business. There are two anchors, and it is their courtesy of Gulfport, I should say, that I'm using their samples for this video. Courtesy, to them we say thank you. You have the FR688F, which allows you adjustability in a vertical sense. Okay. They have their FR668A, which is a fancy one, that allows you to both horizontally and vertically adjust in 2 axes. That's pretty cool. That's pretty unusual as well. So, adjustable base anchors, adjustable floor anchors, these are used infrequently, but they do come up. And the situation is this. Every time that I have had a client ask for them, or say, with this frame or these couple of frames, the client will call, you're doing a 910 South Michigan, a project that was the Standard Oil building, and it went to condos. I think that's what it was. Don't quote me. Well, there were several hundred frames in the job. The contractor, the project manager running the installation of doors, frames, and hardware, would occasionally call and say, yeah, on the 5th floor, the pour of concrete was uneven, so I'm going to need some adjustable floor anchors on there. And what that means is you've got a rectangle. The frame is a rectangle. The frame needs to sit, the door needs to hang true, plumb, level, and square. If your floor is uneven, that frame is going to sit on the floor and it's not even. So what is done with an adjustable floor anchor is you've got your frame, you set it down on the high point. Well, it's on the low point that you're then going to take and drop. Basically, if it's here, you're going to drop this down. Okay? This is going to be attached to the throat of the frame. This will be welded in. This will be loose like this. And, Gulfport makes this with a nylon lock nut and a typical, probably quarter 20 sheet metal screw or a machine screw. And securing it together that way is clearly the concept. So you would put this in position. You'd put your frame in position. You would then mark where this needed to be exactly in your installation, no matter where it is. Then secure the length of this or the projection of this, and this leg will be literally sitting below the bottom of the frame. You bring the frame back, and then you will set it down. It will be level. You'll secure it. You'll bring your wall up to it, and then how they fix the floor is how they fix the floor. More concrete, some sort of floor condition, or it's left that way, who knows. But in a construction project where there's lots of masonry, poured masonry is where I would see these frames all the time. You could also obviously use it in an application where you've got a floor that's just not level, whether it be new or 100+ years old, or this poured concrete application. So the FR668 allows that vertical adjustment. Not uncommon. In a hollow metal shop, I would certainly want to have a few of these laying around, but to bump into a last minute need for several dozen or hundreds of these, I've never encountered that. So that's where you're going to use this. The FR688A, that's a fresh take on this. I've never needed to use an adjustable floor anchor that was adjustable in both axes. Obviously, your Y, and now your X, okay? But I can certainly fathom where you would use this. You have not only an uneven floor, but now you've got a floor from your X-axis is not level, but now your Z, so to speak, your depth, it's stepped, or there's some completely horrible, awful situation that you're trying to set a frame into, where you literally need to take that and move it all the way over here and then drop it down to this area. Okay, that's where you're going to end up using this, because obviously you don't have a floor condition here where the frame needs to sit on top of. Okay, so that would be an application of where you would use the FR688A. Pretty neat. I think that's really all there is to say about an adjustable floor anchor. In a hollow metal shop setting, I think you would have a few laying around, like I had just said earlier. Looking back at the SDI definition, they are showing it installed this way. They're not showing a Gulfport anchor, but literally it looks like this. Okay, great. So you'll take and weld the plate to the back of the frame. By the way, 5.5 inch. So if you're going to put this on a 4 3/4 frame, you'll get that in your chop saw and you'll cut it down evenly if necessary. So here's your X. You want to do it this way, or X this way. There you go, and here's your Y-axis. So that could work either way. Clearly what they're doing here on the single style is they're just taking this bracket in the back and cutting it in half, is clearly what they're doing. Okay, we're going to continue on with the definitions of anchors, and the next one up is called compression. Compression anchors are next, and let's talk about those next.